Hello, everyone, and welcome to an exciting episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 fan cast. We have a lot of exciting news, especially since this is kind of the eve of the 2019 North American Summer Split. So we have a lot to talk about. I'm joined by my lovely co-host Frozen Creek, and Dr. Manhattan is back with us.
Yeah, glad to be back after quite some time.
Yeah, but this is a special episode, not only because of Dr. Manhattan, but because of LCS starting this week. We only get to do this 2 times a year, so it's always exciting to gather around and talk again about it. Unfortunately, our first match this week is going to be at the very end of the Champions League final with Liverpool, so I might not even be able to watch it.
Oh no, you have to choose.
Champions League final.
I
I can watch Cloud9 after the fact.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, before we can talk about that, we have some exciting news, and that is that Cloud9 and Puma have extended their partnership significantly. It's a multi-year contract deal, and this deal also includes a full apparel line. I believe everything except the Cloud9 jerseys for League of Legends, because Riot has like a deal with some company, and they can't do it for the Overwatch League team because the Overwatch League team has a deal with a company. But I believe Puma will be making custom jerseys for all the other teams. They're doing a full apparel line. I believe they may also do sneakers, and if so, I am definitely getting a pair. But it should be this is a pretty good deal for Cloud9 just because Puma is a very big, apparel brand, and it's a very, it's a top brand. And them saying we want to continue this partnership is also very good because this means that business on both sides are fairly pleased and they want to continue that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like the biggest Puma fan, but I do know that they have a lot of cool stuff out. So even if they threw the Cloud9 logo onto some issues or something, I think I'd be all about it. So I think that the biggest thing about it is that one, if they're renewing, and two, it's a multi-year thing. So it's like one of the first like big investments for the future that we've seen for Cloud9 in LCS in general.
Yeah, for sure. I think that brands like this are really good, not only just for Cloud9, but I think for esports in general, because the more major sponsorships that organizations get, the more it sort of legitimizes it. So just looking at Cloud9, we have Puma renewing for a multi-year deal. You have AT&T, you have BMW as another sponsor. I believe that their logo is actually like in the middle of all the other sponsors. Maybe, but they're sponsored by some pretty big name companies, so it's nothing to shake a stick at. So I think this is very good for all of us.
Or yeah, I totally forgot that we were sponsored by BMW.
Yeah, we're also sponsored by Omen by HP, which is Omen. I think is their like gaming line of computers from HP, and we are also sponsored by Red Bull, and of course HyperX is our sort of gaming peripheral sponsors. But we have a good sort of line of pretty top tier companies. So C9's looking pretty good, at least sponsors wise.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to fit the Cloud9 logo and Puma logo on like to like some cool shirts or joggers or something for the team as a part of that apparel line, because it's gonna look kind of cool, I guess, but like I can't quite envision how like the logos are going to look with each other because they're not like thematically like together or anything.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm mainly just looking for the shoes. If Puma can make some sneakers, that would be so sick. Just to like have like a custom, Cloud9 shoe, uh, especially if it's super comfortable. But
yeah, I remember seeing a guy on the Cloud9 subreddit did like his own custom. Oh man, what was it?
I think his own like sandals or something like that.
That's what it was. Chacos.
yeah, they were like
Chacos.
flip flops, and they had like the custom straps.
Yeah, the Chacos, and that's cool. I guess. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy it, but it's still pretty sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
I like this deal. Again, I think you guys kind of hit it most on the head, but I love this deal simply because, I mean, Puma is a giant brand. I mean, they've been around since forever, and to see like stuff like that is really cool. And we've seen this also with like one or two other teams. Like we see this with Immortals and K-Swiss, how they had their own shoes. But I mean, to see like a Cloud9 brand ex Puma, like a collab like that, like at retail shops, which I think that's what the bigger plan was. And one, I'm super pumped for. Also, I think that the company that Riot, actually I learned this yesterday. I think the company that Riot hired to do the jerseys, the We Are Nations, they actually have some stuff in Walmart now, so you can actually get LCS jerseys through Walmart.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I think I saw
On
this
what
too.
brand?
I think I saw it on Twitter.
We Are Nations. Like Walmart, apparently you can buy like any of the LCS jerseys like through the Walmart website.
I believe you, but I'm looking still.
Yeah, it blew my mind too. I'm like, what the hell, dude?
Continue on, but
Yeah, so I mean, you guys hit most of it on the head, but yeah, I'm super pumped to see, with this Puma deal, the fact that they see the long-term value in Cloud9. It isn't just like a one-time like sponsorship thing and then they're out. I mean, we see this with numerous brands. Yeah, it's just cool to see that Cloud9 sees, that Puma sees the long-term value not just in Cloud9, but just in esports as a whole. And I'm super excited for this line. They said it's going to be in September. That's not too far off.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and if any cool stuff does pop up, we'll be sure to mention it. But I want to move on to talk a little bit about some other results. PUBG recently performed their most recent performance in the NPL Royale. They got second place, which is always great. Our PUBG team usually lands somewhere within the top 5 a lot of the time, so good on them for continuing to perform. They've been probably our most active Battle Royale group. I believe Cloud9 also announced that the Apex team would be participating in something. I can't remember if it's a league or an event.
I believe it is an event. I want to say it's. I mean, I've been seeing a bunch of tweets from other esports orgs there. I think it's the.
It is the Face It Pro Series qualifiers.
Yes. Yeah, I saw a bunch of teams saying that they're going to compete in that. So yeah.
Yes, and that is on actually, I guess tomorrow, May 31st for any listeners. 2 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure to cheer on our Apex roster as they try to qualify for the that Pro Series.
Yeah, no, it should be fun.
Yeah. Also, I guess somewhat unsurprising now, CSGO has dropped out of the DreamHack Dallas 2019 event with back-to-back losses. I personally don't have much to say because it's kind of beating a dead horse at this point about the roster and its issues. But it still sucks to see that C9 is kind of wallowing in mediocrity in terms of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. It kind of blows.
Well, moving on to a more happy note, though, the League of Legends Academy team actually just finished playing. They played against FlyQuest Academy, and a somewhat delightful surprise, our boy Jukes He is a Brazilian player. He joined, I believe, earlier this year, maybe last year, as kind of like a streamer. But he actually started playing with the academy team at scrims and kind of playing alongside Kumo in the top lane, and he played a pretty sick ribbon, and they actually won their first game for the summer season.
Yeah, despite some some unforced errors, like it was a pretty clean match. They could have won it probably 2 minutes sooner than they did, but all things considered, I think Jukes had a really good debut. I guess the bigger question is what is going to happen to Kumo now, because I've heard rumors that maybe he's going, but I don't know, because we also have Jukes, and it doesn't make sense to keep two of them for the academy roster, really.
It's a very, I mean, I would not be surprised if Kumo gets picked up for like spring 2020, because he's an extremely good top laner. On top of, there are a lot of bottom teams that could probably use a top laner, and they don't have to really import or cost a lot. So him getting called up to the big stage, I think, is something that is not surprising and something we kind of want, just knowing his skill level, and we want to like, I kind of want him at least to see him succeed instead of having to, do fairly well in the, sort of the minor leagues. But someone like him, he definitely needs to move up to the major leagues and really show what the main stage, what he can do. So I'm not surprised by that. I think at least watching this first game, I think Jukes did fairly well. He crushed it on Riven. I've read that he is very good at these sort of fighter type champions. I personally want to see how he does on the more tanky set of top laners, just to see like what his full like skill range is. But he surprised me.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I've been saying this since like the middle of last summer, and I thought he'd get picked up now, but evidently not. That I was saying in 2019 that Kumo would be one of the hottest tickets in the academy. But also, we wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of these academy players go. Simply because I'm not sure if you guys saw that video that Travis put out, where basically he kind of put in basically tried to put $1 on how much every win would cost from every LCS team. And at one point, he talked about how Cloud9. He mentioned it like just as an aside, saying how Cloud9 has a significantly more or higher budget for their academy team as opposed to every other organization. Where, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me considering you have 3 former LCS players there and a player who could easily get offers on top teams like Kumo. And Diamond, I don't think is necessarily ready yet, but he's getting there, and knowing the development that is behind Cloud9. So yeah, I think that maybe they're probably baiting some sort of trades, and for all we know, like by the end of this year, like we could see a huge cash out for some players on the C9 Academy side by the end of this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think the important thing is they go to organizations that will pay them well, and they can hopefully be successful.
Yeah, most definitely.
It was kind of interesting to see CLG go for someone other than Kumo after they dropped Darshan too, and even Optic. Maybe Golden Guardians could get him and stash him at the very least.
Well, Optic is kind of falling apart though.
Yeah, I was about to say, like that's one of the
true.
main thing that was happening, and like same thing with
I believe they are, as the phrase goes, cash poor.
Same thing with Clutch, and Clutch is not even. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed they're not even going to be here in 2020. So, at this point, they're just sitting in their own graves.
That's true, but yeah, before the spring split, I guess, is when most things happen. So it's a matter of time, I guess.
Well, 2020 is a bit off. Right now, we're going to talk about the summer. It's, sun's out, guns out, gentlemen. Get your tank tops on. It is time for some sizzling summer talk. I'd have a graphic, but this is an audio thing. We have we have some Frozen, how do you want to do this? Do you want to go through like the predictions first, and then, or what?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, Frozen,
yeah,
since
that's fine.
you're first on the list, you can go first.
All right, so I think we are all pretty content with our, or not content, but we're all even on our top three. In no particular order, it's TSM, Team Liquid, and Cloud9. I had Team Liquid first, and then Cloud9 and TSM. You guys had different versions, so I guess let's start with just at the top three and discuss that first. So I picked Team Liquid. I have a feeling that they might come in a little flat, but I think we know that this is the highest salary team, the most expensive team, the most veteran team, all those things. I mean, they have four former world champions, former world semis finalist, a world group stage extraordinaire in double lift. So I think that this is the bar that's been set the past 2 years at this point. I have a feeling that Cloud9 is going to be second over TSM just due to the fact that we had the best record tied for it last split. And I think that we had TSM's number then. And I know that they're going to want to get us back, but with them doing their jungle switching out with a Cadian and Greg, I don't think that it's going to be able to be consistent throughout the whole split. And that they're going to drop games that they shouldn't because of it. So that's my logic why I put Team Liquid Cloud9 into TSM. Dr. Manhattan, what do you think?
I do think that's a fair argument, and that's actually the reason why, like, but my thing is why I put TSM at the top of the rankings, but also I do think that, first of all, the way I see it right now is the top three right now are rock, paper, scissors. It's this infinite circle of TSM 2-0 TL and TL 2-0 C9 and C9 2-0 TSM. It's just this infinite circle of who just feels hotter that day. So as far as how confident I am with my predictions, I am not at all. And that can be said whether it's TSM, C9, or TL at the top. I'm not confident in any of them. So, like saying that they're like by far the best team. And while people are going to be riding high on the TL MSI finals run, I do expect them in the first couple of weeks to fall a bit flat. I think that one, TSM's going to be hungry for revenge. On top of the fact that, I mean, they're probably not scrimming as much as, other teams. I mean, C9 was in their boot camp since pretty much the end of last season. Like, I'm pretty sure even before the summer season ended, there was already players in Korea just screaming for a while. And, I think Liquor said in an interview, while most players were just, relaxing at home or in some cases going to Coachella, like, most of the Cloud9 players were fine just going to Korea, and they actually wanted the practice because they're hungry for it, so that's another thing. The way the meta's shaping right now, it seems like, again, it favors all three teams, strangely enough. Solo laners are still pretty crazy. Bot lane has some sort of has a bit more agency now, so it really depends on who is feeling the strongest right now. Ultimately, why I think that again, not confident, but why I favor TSM a bit more. I'm actually now favoring them a bit less, considering that more of the news is coming out with Greg and Acadian, so I will say that. I'm feeling even less confident with saying TSM number one, but I think that Broken Blade has thoroughly impressed me for the last half of the split, and I think that something like that will carry on for the most part. I think that Bjergsen is without a doubt like the heart and soul of that team, and I think that he's one of the most valuable players in the entire league. And their bot lane's actually looking really good, and I think that's another thing that you have to keep in mind. And as long as they don't, like, their biggest demon is going to be Cloud9, no surprise. But I mean, again, it's a whole infinite circle of who can beat who at any given day, and that's actually why I'm excited for this summer more than anything.
Havoc?
I'm kind of on the same page as Dr. Manhattan. I think TL will continue to be strong because as long as Doublelift is in the LCS, he will continue to crush it. As much as I hate him, His skill is second to none, and I have to acknowledge that. C9 I put at third just because they are not as solid in a playoff situation as TSM, for example. I'm still upset how they performed in semifinals, as well as in the past they have had some other slight misses in playoffs that should have been theirs, and then they just kind of dropped the ball. So I put them third just because sort of their kind of history, I guess. But I do agree that it's very close. It's not like a clear defined 1, 2, 3. It's all very close, and I just kind of have it separated for very tiny reasons. Some of them indeed petty.
All right, moving on. We all had FlyQuest at 4. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, just due to the fact that they were 4th last year, and no
They're a
one
solid team.
made any big moves to try and jump them. So I feel like that's the most logical next choice. So who's the final playoff team then? We actually all had different answers. I had Echo Fox just due to the fact that I like them. Oh, all of us had Golden Guardians at 5th too. So they were the 5th best team last year, I believe. I picked Echo Fox to be the last playoff team just due to the fact that I really like Rush. So I'm biased, and I like Froggen. So, and I feel like of the teams left, they are the most proven, I guess, just due to the fact that everyone was kind of a shit show last year. So I'm hopeful that our kind boy can bring home a first round exit for us.
Yeah. For me, my playoff thing, I think I put FlyQuest at 4th doesn't surprise me. I think that they're probably the last, I would say, truly formidable team in the playoffs, in the sense of I do believe that they'll take maybe a swipe a game or two from one of the top teams, maybe all three. Don't be surprised to do that. Golden Guardians, I pretty much consider the standard right now for the LCS, in the sense of if you're, and no surprise they're 5th place, so yeah, go figure. That yeah, if you're better than a 5th place team, you're probably pretty decent. But if you're worse than the 5th place team, then yeah, you're pretty bad. I'll put it there. Then for my last playoff team, I actually put 100 Thieves. As much as people are very unpopular on them, and obviously they, without a doubt, spent the amount of money they spent for their overall results of last place is bad. But I think that the fact that 100 Thieves says they're getting a lot of the staff that they had from a lot of the stuff in terms of mental coaches for the players is good. My only issue is obviously Saligo and whether he truly is ready for the LCS, because this guy was in scouting grounds probably not even a year ago, and he got picked up and now he's being put in the spotlight of a very big team, and with pretty high expectations for them. They, in their first year they went to Worlds, which is impressive, and now they're last, and it's pretty hard if you're Saligo. Well, I do favor them because I think that Amazing does bring some sort of fire to teams in the past, and we've seen that multiple times, and he's a super motivated player. Not to mention, one of the things that 100 Thieves lacked from last year is a truly vocal jungle, because you cannot be, and we've seen it firsthand with our jungler, that you cannot be a coward and play the jungle that's just you can't. You have to be able to handle invades, and you have to handle a lot of pressure, and Onda just didn't provide that. I mean, he's good in solo queue, and if you've seen his VODs, the kid's actually crazy. But it's just that didn't translate well into the stage. And Amazing, this is a former LCS and World semifinalist we're talking about here. Wealth of experience, has been to 4 finals, 2 with Origin, 1 with Schalke, and 1 with TSM, where he won one, and has made World semifinals and World quarters in back-to-back years. So, yeah, I would say that it's going to be close, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a huge 3-way tie again between who I put later on, which is CLG, Echo Fox, and 100 Thieves. So I don't think the gaps are too wide between those 3 teams, but I'm hoping that 100 Thieves can come back hungry this season.
I actually put Clutch. I think their roster is pretty good. just having Huni, Lyra, Demonte, that's a really solid core. Cody's son, I think he's decent. I mean, he's not the best, but I think he's at least hungry to try and improve. I'm not really that favorable on Piglet just because Piglet's kind of coasting off of his name for a while, and he has I think his skill has like really deteriorated, but he's just been kind of coasting on his name more than anything. And I think he may actually just even be playing at Academy. I'm not sure. But I think Clutch could maybe do some things and do some things good. I actually have 100 Thieves 7th, and then Fox, CLG, and Optic. I think Optic is just dead last. I think that even if they have Crown, they're how their team is being handled, they're not going to get much done. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, all of us have Optic last. I'm not big on this CLG roster, Clutch roster, so that's why I have them below Echo Fox. I actually had 100 Thieves at 7 for some reason, just due to the fact that I do like Cody's son more than I like Piglet. I did just not a huge fan of Demonte either. He's kind of more like the NA Huhi than anything else, where it's nothing special and sometimes he'll be good, but average he's just not that good.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. That's kind of why I had Clutch Gaming. I actually had Clutch Gaming at 9th. I think that they will have like some moments, but it's just looking. I mean, My biggest issue with that team is simply the coaching staff, because you have pretty big personalities, and stuff like that requires a big coach. Like in the sense of like when you're dealing with people who aren't easy to work with, or just kind of have their own opinion on how the game needs to be played, or wants to be, or how they want it to be played. You need somebody with that level of authority. It doesn't surprise me that literally the 3 best coaches are handling the 3 best players in Kane, Reaper, and Zix. All 3 fantastic coaches. And Clutch Gaming is dealing with a former world finalist in Piglet. Demonte also, I've heard, is somewhat vocal about the way he likes to play. He's dealing with Piglet for a split. Cody does have some baggage. Well, I mean, I'm not sure how much Academy has changed his opinion, or maybe he wasn't even the problem to begin with. We'll let time find out, or we may never find out. And, Lyra has just been slowly burning out of this game. It looks like in the way he plays, and I don't think that Clutch has another answer of a jungler. So it's just going to be very, very difficult for this Clutch lineup, in my opinion, to go on. But, who knows? Maybe Cody's son might bring some fire to this team that is needed, because it just feels like just an old, worn-out engine with no flame.
Oh, that sounds so savage. Well, I don't know how I compete with that. I can't think of anything else to say in terms of team rankings, but do you guys want to talk about the schedule a bit?
Of course.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this season's schedule is actually very interesting because it kind of puts us at a hot-cold situation. For example, this week, on June 1st at 2... I was going to do Central Time, but or maybe it's Pacific. I don't know.
I think it's Pacific.
Okay, it's Pacific time. All right.
It says it on a LoL Esports in your time zone.
Yeah,
I was looking at the picture on their Twitter because it has all of them.
It's always on Pacific, because whenever you're on LoL Esports, because for mine it says 5.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So this week, June 1st at 2 p.m. Pacific time, they play against FlyQuest, and then on Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, they play against Clutch. So it's sort of a situation of playing against a good team and then playing against sort of a lower ranking team. So FlyQuest and Clutch, at least our rankings would be like playing 4th, and then playing like 6th, and then next week Fox Golden Guardians, and then Optic TSM, and so on and so forth. So you're kind of forcing you're not having getting a few softball weeks. You're always having to kind of really prepare for one team, but maybe not prepare as much for another. So I think it will really test how C9 can switch gears in terms of difficulty, as well as making sure that the team is sharp from week to week, because there really isn't a week where you can really slack off. And maybe week maybe like week 4 against 100 Thieves in CLG, but
No slacking off.
other than that, there really isn't a lot of slacking off that you can really do from week to week. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this.
Yeah, looking at the opening weeks, I would say that between TL, TSM, and C9, it doesn't surprise. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody looking at it on paper and saying that they probably have the easiest opening, because TSM it's literally a rematch of the finals, so TSM and
Right.
TL literally have to after
As is tradition.
yeah, it's a rematch of the finals after the Cloud9 FlyQuest game. That's what it is. That would be at 6 Eastern here. But Cloud9 they play the other three. The only team that's actually even like decent, like I mean last year's playoff team. So we play literally 3 playoff teams in the first 2 weeks in Echo Fox, Golden Guardians, and FlyQuest. But I mean, Cloud9 should be able to easily handle them. It's clear that there's a significant gap even from all those playoff teams. And then they open with Clutch, and then they play Optic in week 3, and we won't see Cloud9's true, they're not truly going to be tested until like week 3, day 2, which is where you first meet TSM, like smack in the middle of the day. And we literally end off the first round robin with TL. So it's like once the first 2 weeks go on, then it's like now they have to go into full gear, because we'll get a better picture of how 100 Thieves and CLG are by week 4. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I would say, even though on paper you can say, oh, it's easy, they can take it easy. Like, no, you want to create as much buffer room for yourself as possible, and yeah, you want to start off the season as strong as we possibly can, so that we're well prepared to go into TSM. Obviously, you want to hide some picks, so then TSM's not seeing everything. But you definitely want to at least give some sort of psych out to TSM in these games, saying like, yeah, even though these are easy, just know that we're taking these a day at a time, and TSM should be prepared for us.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm curious. So how do you guys feel we are prepared going into FlyQuest and Clutch Gaming, especially with our very surprised recent addition of Rainover coming in as a positional coach? I can't remember if we talked about it last week, but Rainover, a very experienced jungler, though he has kind of fallen off skill-wise. Very smart tactics-wise, as well as he knows so much about just the jungle role in general. I think he can definitely help Svenskeren and Blabber, I think, really up their game a little bit to the next notch in terms of early game play, as well as maybe how to better take the early 2 different stages of the game. We've been better about that this year rather, but I think that Rainover can definitely help out in kind of teaching and just helping out in general with strategies and whatnot.
Yeah, literally it's literally one of the most we have one of the most experienced like coaching staffs in terms of just knowing the game, probably in the entire West, or definitely in terms of just pure experience. You have a former MSI coach slash at one point one of the best top laners in the world as a head coach in Rebird. You have a world finalist mid laner in Rapid Star, and then you have Rainover, a semifinalist, and somebody who's been known for just his even though he's fallen off since the days of Immortals and in his time going on CLG and TL. People who worked with him, and I think that CLG worked with or not CLG, CLG worked with him before when he was on Immortals, and they said as a coach he's without a doubt one of the smartest people you could work with in the game, and is great to work with. And hopefully that the break that he took of playing auto chess in Korea was good for him, just to reset his mental. And obviously we can always welcome more eyes on just the coaching staff, especially with someone like a jungler. Svenskeren, is fucking phenomenal, and I don't think anybody's gonna deny that. Or and so is Blabber. But it would be cool to see how he can integrate in terms of knowing how to play around some of the lanes and whatnot. So yeah, no, absolutely welcome addition, and I'm excited to see what the coaching staff can do because it's going to be really scary to mess with this coaching staff, and that's what I give most of my confidence in Cloud9 than anything.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I
Okay.
talked about it last week, so
Okay, we did. I
I'll
couldn't
let that
remember.
stand. Yeah, no,
Goldfish brain.
it's fine. This is the most important week, so and you guys nailed all my thoughts, I think. So
All right.
and said it better.
Well, I have nothing else to say. Does anyone have any final thoughts? Let's get some predictions for this weekend. What do you guys think is going to happen?
As opposed to predictions, talk about how a Cloud9 can win their games because we know that they're going to win, but how? And who's
Ah,
going to win TSM?
all right. I can start since you asked so nicely. I think C9's just going to win by against something like Lackluster Clutch Gaming. I think it's just about playing their game, making sure that they have a correct read on the meta, and just doing some level-headed drafting. I think Reaper's drafting is kind of a double-edged sword when he tries to get cute. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I am always more of the tried and true. Do all your homework and then and then do something that for sure will work rather than something that could possibly work but not. Um, I think we just have to stick to our game, make sure our boys get good picks. Especially for Licorice, I think Licorice and Sneaky. It's the game I think right now is looking very top bottom centric, especially with how Yumi is added to. I'm still not even sure how she works 100%, but I think as long as we give our two big boys in the side lanes really good choices, it should be a pretty easy victory.
Yeah. As for week one, the thing about FlyQuest is while some people like, I mean, they're definitely kind of like they are golden guardians in the sense where they definitely like to play like just like to try to 5v5 you at mid, and just kind of like wait till like post 35 minutes. Sometimes these guys, like, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes these guys can like hit like mules, you know, where it's just like Santorin is a really good jungler, and it's really up to Svensk Garen to put the pressure on him in that regard. And Turtle is probably one of the most crazy AD carries we all know. Like, you never know what he has up his sleeve. Like, he'll do something that like either like looks really stupid, or will come out looking like he's the best AD carry in the league. It's actually crazy. Even
I don't think he knows either. So
it's like it's that's how crazy it is. Where it's like sometimes he does stuff like just kind of improvising. He's like, oh crap, that worked, and we win the game. So I think that like Santorin and Turtle are the two key players that I would really advise for C9 to watch out for in that FlyQuest series, and that those would probably be your win conditions in terms of who to just try to shut down or try to outperform. In the Clutch series, with Cody's son, apparently scrims have been going better for Clutch with Cody's son. At least that's what Demonte is saying. I just think that I mean, again, take them as seriously as possible. If you can absolutely crush these guys, then do it. Like, I don't want to see like just like a lot of back and forth, and I want to see that. Like, I think Cloud9 is just gonna try to go for these like really 2v2 skirmishes with like Licorice and Svensk Garen against like Lyra and Huni. Also, Rainover probably knows how Huni likes to play and some of his habits, so that might be a race in the whole in that regard, and that would probably just snowball into a victory.
already, who wins the TSM team liquid match then?
I think that TL is might be somewhat depowered just because MSI usually takes a toll on a lot of teams because they won't have as much prep time for the upcoming summer season. So I think TSM does have an advantage, but I think their advantage is somewhat countered by the whole jungle situation and how they don't really know what they're exactly going to do in that position. So I think that it's kind of a level playing field when you kind of look at it.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say. I'll just for I would I would put my money on TSM simply because they probably had more time to just scrim a bit. And actually, I think that they did a boot camp in Santa Monica where they were there basically since like after like a week of taking a break from the final. They just legitimately just went out to a house in Santa Monica and they were just screaming nonstop. I would say the main reason why TL might just feel a bit like they might feel like just a bit kind of worn out after MSI. Obviously, getting back on the stage is going to be good for them, and it'll probably take a bit more for TL to warm up. So that's probably why I'm feeling a bit more confident in TSM.
Yeah, my heart tells me Team Liquid, but my head tells me TSM for those reasons too. So I have a feeling it's probably going to be TSM, but that's why I don't bet on games. All right. I think that's about it. No?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I can't really think of anything else to mention.
Alrighty. We have 2 games this week. I believe they're both at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Never mind, I lied. We do play the first game on both days.
Yes.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday.
Yes. Also,
So-
for a heads up for everyone, Overwatch League starts next week. So for all of you Overwatch fans out there, get excited for that because we got that too.
Yeah, that should be fun.
I'm super pumped.
Hoping that we can get back to the stage playoffs again.
Yep, but we will talk about that more next week. Don't forget to follow us at C9 Bodied. I really need to start tweeting more. I don't for some reason, but I'll definitely since the season's picking back up. You'll see a lot more stuff from us. But thank you for listening, and everything, and we'll see you again next time.
All right, later.
Bye, guys.